Hey, hi guys, welcome back. All right, so Ophiuchus, we are going to do, excuse me, a story that I'm calling the waterfall read. It could be a little bit blunt. It's kind of like, when we're flowing down the river of life and then we kind of go over that waterfall. What's the big thing that we suddenly have happened? So it could be unexpected. So as always, I'm a fictional storyteller. We'll see what comes out of these. I'm not going to be predicting your life. Rather, we're going to watch how a character's storyline evolves. But let's go ahead and see. We have a Wheel of Fortune. We have the King of Cups. We have the Seven of Wands. And we have Pentacles. Well, I have to say, for Ophiuchus, this looks like the things. Hey, Wet Lobo 818, good to see you. Thanks for being here. To me, this looks like Ophiuchus is going to have a sudden turn of the wheel in their favor, meaning things in life where once there was none, now there is tons. They may find it difficult to decide what to do. They could have two kings showing up suddenly in their life. They could wind up just because the Wheel of Fortune turns in our favor, it doesn't mean now it's necessarily like, oh, wow, okay, so I'm going to do this, and that. All makes sense, all squared away. I know just what's happening. No, sometimes the Wheel of Fortune turns in our favor and it dumps a deluge of opportunity on us. And then we're going to be lost in that labyrinth for a little bit, trying to figure out, what do I want to say yes to? What do I want to say no to? I've got to think through this. I have opportunities, but which opportunity is the one that I really want? So it looks like it's it's great, and it's also not great, because we got an Ophiuchus who's going to have to really work their way through things and decide what they actually want. Now, I want to know, why do we have that stuck energy, that energy of the Seven of Wands is like, it's an obstacle, right? Perspective, which is the Hanged Man in any other deck. Oh boy. So Ophiuchus is about to have two amazing kings step forward. Now, bear in mind, that doesn't have to mean that there's two men coming in to try to, vie for the hand of Ophiuchus. It could be that. It could be that literal, but it could also just be two amazing people, or two amazing opportunities, both of which seem very well-formed, very fleshed out, very awesome opportunities. But the obstacle literally is Ophiuchus is going to have to figure out, they can only have one, is what it looks like with this storyline. And they're going to have to step back to decide which one really makes their heart feel good. Which of these two situations really feels like it clicks, like it works for this Ophiuchus? Which of these two things? Yeah, I'll say it. They definitely only can have one or the other, because an Ace of Pentacles says one of these two opportunities is much more, I'll say, fulfilling. The fish can represent good fortune. And we have the higher self, which I was going to say before, that it seems like that, gaining a higher perspective. Obviously, we have these, floating hot air balloons up in the sky. So for the Hanged Man energy to say, I'm going to pause and I'm going to see this from my higher lens. But it's interesting that as Ophiuchus contemplates between these two choices that have now been presented to them, or are about to be presented to them, one of the things that their higher self is suggesting they consider is, in the 3D world, which is going to bring the greatest amount of financial benefit, the greatest amount of overall satisfaction, the greatest amount of good fortune in one's life in general. That doesn't mean we're saying, okay, which person is richer? Let's go with the richer king. It's more like, especially being that it's Ace of Pentacles and we have a fish here, what does good fortune look like? And now we turn back to the higher self and we ask that question. What does good fortune look like? Does it look like somebody who's happy and even-keeled, someone who I can count on and rely on to be a stable partnership that I can grow with, whose vision for growth looks the same as mine? Or say this is about a job. Maybe this is two different job opportunities being presented to Ophiuchus. There's one job that could be super emotionally fulfilling in the context that it's like, oh man, that'd be something that I would feel good about doing. but I'd never be able to pay my bills and it would take all my time, versus there's a job that I'm good at, the hours are decent, the pay is excellent, and then I could use my free time and maybe donate some of my free time to doing that other thing that my heart wants to do. So which job do I take? Do I take the job that pays me well and gives me good hours and still allows me to have free time to pursue something that's just a matter of passion for me? Maybe it's, I want to do good works, I want to work for a charity, I want to do this and that. But in reality, this is almost urging Ophiuchus to look at it from the higher self. Sometimes our desire to do something emotional that would be emotionally satisfying may still come with a heap of 3D obstacles. And so to contemplate which of these two choices is going to give me the best life, the most satisfying life. Now, if we're talking about matters of the heart, I don't think we can be quite as cut and dried as that, because love loves without reason. And should we go for a character where it's like, well, we'd have a stable life and I'd love that, versus, well, I love this person, my emotions are with them, but I don't know that there's so much financial stability. I mean, I don't think that would sound kind of more like a callous choice to be making, perhaps, and it doesn't look like that, because remember, it's the higher self. It's asking our character to combine the rational with the emotional, the being aware that there's the spiritual world, but there's also the 3D world, and what will give a character the greatest possibility for their wishes, hopes, and dreams to really come true. It's tough. This is a really tough choice that Ophiuchus is going to have to face. They're going to have to decide which of two fantastic opportunities they take. I'm more inclined to say this is looking like career than it is about love, or like, life opportunity. And which of these two choices is Ophiuchus going to want? Now, this could be something small. This could be go to the coffee house and you're about to order your coffee drink, and it turns out they have, the barista says, oh, but did you know about the secret menu? There's this drink. Have you ever heard of that? And it's like, oh, what do I want? Well, the one is, $1 more expensive, but I'd like to try it. On the other hand, this is my tried and true. And, which do I go with? It just could be something as seemingly insignificant as that, but it really is a metaphor for something bigger. Ophiuchus has the gateways of opportunity opening up to them, but don't think that just because the opportunities are there that now it's going to be smooth sailing. Opportunity means choice. Choice means let's think about the decision-making process. And that's what this storyline really is. That's the blunt message for this. Ophiuchus is going to have decisions, 2 of Pentacles, and they're going to have to weigh pros and cons. And sometimes they may not know how to weigh the pros and cons with that 2 of Pentacles, because it's like, oh man, the pros and cons list are equal. I got 2 good, 2 bad on each side. So now what do I pick? Inspiration of Cups, 4 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. Only Ophiuchus can tell, but it does say that instead of getting burned out and exhausted, it kind of seems like Ophiuchus is going to keep wanting to choose the new opportunities. They may discover that if old opportunities are popping up at the same time that brand new ones are, they may realize that certain things that weren't available to them before might have been because they were being protected from something that would have been unsatisfying. And at this point, maybe just the fact that multiple opportunities are available, that alone could be this really soothing, fulfilling thing, not necessarily like saying yes to this opportunity. Let's go back to the concept of what if this was about romantic opportunities. Say we have an old lover coming back at the same time a new lover is coming in. And Ophiuchus is like, oh my God, what do I do? It could simply be that having an old romantic partner show back up and offer something to Ophiuchus could be enough for Ophiuchus to say, that was so fulfilling to find out that they thought of me, that they didn't not choose me before for a negative reason. This could be very soul satisfying. I was protected from a huge disappointment. Maybe there was a bit of an illusion about, what could have been possible back then when it wasn't at all, and I was unaware of that. So at this point, I can say just having that show up in my life, it's not because it's what I'm going to choose now, or because it's not even because it suits me anymore, but rather it's fulfilling and it's a wonderful gift for this to come full circle. It's kind of like a Mercury retrograde, pre-story, I think. Something old could be coming back in, and simply the fact that it shows back up at all, that is already enough of a gift. It's not because Ophiuchus is necessarily going to choose it. This is just the way Ophiuchus might be thinking about things. This just looks like they're more excited about the fresh and the new, and when they contemplate missed opportunities, past things, I say past because it's all in black and white, they're realizing that they were protected and still are, and that alone could be very soothing. And indeed, Ophiuchus could bring somebody back into their life, but put them in a different category now. They could become a friend instead of a lover. An old romantic partner who wants to come back in could become not just, because there's no such thing as just a friend. I mean, to have a friend is a beautiful thing. Let's not, make it seem less important. It could be even more valuable. But Ophiuchus they may not have to choose between A or B. They may have to choose between, how do I arrange these two of matters of priority in my life? So I get to bring both of those opportunities together, but now I stratify them. Especially if we're dealing with people for this storytelling, is that it kind of looks like Ophiuchus is going to find a way to be able to look at this and say, okay, wait a minute. What do I do with this? We have a Queen of Wands also in the upright. Queen of Wands, I'm going to say this still to me looks like this is the Ophiuchus putting themselves in the driver's seat. Remember, the universe is opening up options. The wheel of fortune is turning in their favor, and they walk right into this labyrinth, right into this maze. So who's in charge? Ophiuchus. They're going to have to make a choice everywhere they turn. They're going to have to decide, do I go there? Do I say yes to this, or do I say no to this? The only thing is, as long as Ophiuchus embraces that and says, this is happening for me, not to confuse me, but because I deserve to be in charge of my life. There are things that want to be in my world because they see my value. This is a beautiful thing. I'm not going to get stressed or overwhelmed. Instead, I'm going to say, thank you, universe, for sending me so many opportunities. Thank you for turning in my favor. Thank you for giving me this, I'll say, obligation to choose wisely for myself and to advocate for my own life. What do we have happening here? A lot of happiness. We got a 9 of Cups. 10 of Wands, laying down old wounds, old fears, old dramas. The Magician upright, manifesting the heck out of something new. And we do have a King of Pentacles in the reverse. Right now, it simply looks like, if anything, we've seen the King of Pentacles now twice. Once in the upright, returning into or presenting themselves to our Ophiuchus, and now we see them again, but this time in the reverse. It almost seems like whomever this King of Pentacles is, and they could be, a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, doesn't have to be an earth energy, but it appears that there has been a strong pull to be able to bury the hatchet with this character, someone who didn't give previously. And I'm a little bit more inclined, since we did see the Inspiration of Cups, which is the Page of Cups, and then we also saw that King of Cups. I'm a little more inclined to say that the new connection that Ophiuchus may be forming could be more with a water energy, something that's emotionally really satisfying. And it seems like they get to close a chapter nicely with a King of Pentacles. And that's something that our characters wanted to do for a really long time. That was an important, if it was a connection, it was an important connection. If it was a job opportunity, they needed it to be, even if they didn't get picked on the first round and now it's coming back around and they're being offered that position again, it could be a really awesome thing, because even though Ophiuchus may not be taking it this round, they still might say, but you know what, thank you so much. And who knows, maybe we'll work together in some other capacity. Maybe, I'll do freelance, or maybe I'll promote your business, even though I'm not the one working there. Like, let's have a business contact, even if I'm not going to wind up working for you. It just feels like this is not the end of any road. Everything is shifting and changing, because there's all new possibilities. And so relationships can evolve into different things. Old traumatic endings can be revisited, but it doesn't mean that we got to take that person back, but rather they can become something different. It can be transformed. So kind of an interesting one. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave that one there. Thank you so much. Hey, Janelle, good to see you, beauty. Divinely guided. Hi, Skylark, you're awesome. Yes, there could only be one, the Highlander. You know, that has been coming up so often lately for me. I feel like I've thought that or said that like 5 times in the last week, and it's so funny. And the funniest part is I've never actually seen the film. So hey, Delinda, great to see you, sweetheart. My pleasure. Thank you always, Delinda. Delinda is the reason I do Ophiuchus, by the way. If you guys ever didn't know, give Delinda a shout out because Delinda asked me to do Ophiuchus and then there was like an 8-month gap before I ever got around to it. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And then it took me months. And it's all thanks to Delinda that I do Ophiuchus. And honestly, I love to do the Ophiuchus reads. They're one of my favorites. So they're always just so different. Anyway, thanks again, Delinda. Shout out to you, sweetheart. Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.